The 7th Annual 2018 Tennessee Veterans Business Association Keynote Dinner. And tonight's dinner is sold out. Actually, the hotel was super nice. They let us oversell it, so give yourselves a round of applause. At this time, we ask everyone that can stand to please stand as we present the colors by the University of Tennessee ROTC, followed by the national anthem, sung by Aaron Short and accompanied by Brian Selesky with the Knoxville Opera. You may be seated. Thank you to University of Tennessee ROTC. We're now going to do the Armed Forces medley, so we ask all who have served or are serving to stand when you recognize your branch's anthem. Mr. Aaron from the Knoxville Opera will be singing the first stanza of each anthem, accompanied by Brian Selesky.
And
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Aaron. So everyone take your seats as you're already seated. Enjoy dinner, and we'll be back as soon as dinner is served. We're glad you're here. Again, welcome to the 7th Annual Tennessee Veterans Business Association Keynote Dinner. We are so glad to be back and better than ever. I would like to start off the evening by recognizing two big names in the association. Both at table 18, Jonathan Williams and Dr. Eric W. Barton. Please stand, gentlemen, really quick. Thank you. As many of you know, TVBA was formed in 2010 by Jonathan, a 10-year Navy veteran who started his own business and began reaching out to veteran business owners to gain insight and input on operating a successful company. You can both sit now. You're coming up here momentarily. He quickly realized that there was no local association or demographic listing of local veteran businesses. Jonathan decided to bring them together for information sharing, networking, and to give them one unified voice on issues affecting veterans and retired military. TVBA was born. From 2010 to 2015, hundreds of veterans and veteran business supporters gathered for TVBA's annual Keynote Dinner, Business Expo, and Veteran Job Fair. These events were inspiring for all participants and attracted statewide recognition and nationally recognized speakers. In 2016, it was clear that the mission and vision of TVBA outgrew the small part-time volunteer staff supporting the association and the annual events. In early 2017, Dr. Eric W. Barton, CEO of Maryville-based Vanquished Worldwide and longtime TVBA supporter, reached out to Jonathan about an idea of an association, partnership, organizational structure, and plan to support and grow TVBA. With the help of Eric, TVBA was relaunched with a comprehensive member benefits package, full support staff, and exciting vision for the future. Jonathan, a longtime friend of Eric's, continues to be heavily involved in the association that now has a team to manage the day-to-day memberships, operations, events, and member services. The future is bright for TVBA. So, gentlemen, come on up. Eric and Jonathan. Give them a big round of applause, indeed. Also at this time, I'd like to present for WIMZ 103.5, Billy Kidd, as he presents the TVBA Awards this year.
Thank you, Dino, and thanks for having us here on behalf of 103.5 WIMZ and Duke FM and B97.5. We are very, very honored and pleased to be a part of this very special event tonight. I'm a huge supporter of veterans, have been for many, many years. All right, so the first award is a humanitarian award. It recognizes an individual who has demonstrated the spirit of humanity through a commitment to a community project or program. This individual has made a significant impact or contribution to our region. Please welcome Patrice Collins from the Knoxville Chamber, the humanitarian award. Patrice is the Knoxville Chamber's staff point of contact for the East Tennessee Military Affairs Council. In this role, she manages the daily operations of the organization's membership, meeting, and outreach. Also, Patrice is the lead organizer of the annual East Tennessee Military Affairs Council Veterans Appreciation and Awards Luncheon. On a daily basis, Patrice is linking active and retired military with resources and programs around the Knoxville region. She has also participated in the Mountain Man March, Honor Air, which I got to fly on one time too, which was awesome, and supported the traveling edition of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Again, Patrice, to the stage, please, for your speech. Patrice Collins, Knoxville Chamber, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations.
Thank you. Way to go, Mama P. Thanks, Dad. Love you. I think many of you in this room know that I am not good at this kind of thing whatsoever, so I'll try not to take hold of myself. I'm honored and humbled. Thank you so much. Steve Stilts, you're in trouble. I believe you're the one that did this. You or Jonathan, I'm not sure which one, but I do greatly appreciate this honor. I do want to accept this on behalf really of the Knoxville Chamber. Without the Knoxville Chamber, I would not be able to do what I do at all. And especially my boss man over there, Doug Lawyer, who lets me do what I do. as he calls me, the wizard behind the counter, the curtain, and that's where I prefer to be, not up here. But anyway, thank you so much. I really greatly appreciate it. It's an honor, and thank you to the veterans and the military here for your service to our country. Thank you.
Once again, Patrice Collins. That's awesome. That's a humanitarian award. Now, this award is the Veteran Entrepreneur Award, recognizes a veteran entrepreneur who has achieved success in their business through a drive to do things differently and change the world in the most unexpected ways. Jonathan Williams, who is my new friend, is right here. Who is the founder, along with Dr. Eric, and I'm so glad to have you two as great friends right here. 10-year Navy veteran Jonathan Williams started Accord Federal Services as a government services firm that provides nationwide facility management support to government agencies and their large commercial contractors. Since its inception, Accord has secured a growing number of larger, more complex contractors, building upon its portfolio and repeatedly demonstrating its ability to enter new business environments, rapidly assess and understand customer needs, and solve problems for a diverse array of agencies in multiple geographic locations. Jonathan, time for your speech.
I've never given myself an award before. It's just kind of weird. I found out about this about an hour ago when I flipped through the book there. I had no idea this was going to happen. And I sincerely and humbly appreciate this honor, but I cannot accept this. I cannot. I have two of the best business partners that you would ever possibly want to have. And that would be Mr. Milton Tooks, the president of Accord Federal, and Bruce Watson, the VP of Operations. These two deserve this award way more than I do. So you two stand up. Stand up. Stand up. I will bore you guys later on with a talk about change and things that have happened over the last couple of years, but Accord Federal Services has been on an amazing journey over this past couple of years, and it's not slowing down. With our partnership with Eric's company, Vanquish, and everybody here, Greg and Anna and Tom and everybody that's helped us out with Vanquish, we have grown tremendously over the last year and a half, and we are not slowing down at all. And it's really just getting started for us, so we really do appreciate it. But sincerely, my name is on this and I'm here, but I sincerely cannot thank these two gentlemen enough for what we've been able to accomplish over this last 6 years, 7 years has been truly amazing. So thank you, gentlemen.
They were afterwards, guys, man. And we're going to put it all back on John. Hang on.
Once again, let's give them a big round of applause. And I must say one other thing too. I'm very, very impressed of how organized this has all been and how it's all came down. I know Dino had a lot to do with that, but everybody else that's involved, we really appreciate that because we like when things work, right? All right. So, last award, the Veteran Innovator Award, recognizes a veteran-owned company that is an innovator in its field, whether it's developing a new technology, innovative product or service, or an innovative practice that has improved their business, industry, or the region in a definitive way. So this Veteran Innovator Award goes to Bunker Labs. Bunker Labs provides educational programming, access to resources, and thriving local network to help military veterans and their spouses start and grow businesses. Blake Hogan, Executive Director and co-founder of Bunker Labs, Austin and Nashville, is a serial entrepreneur who previously served as an officer in the Marine Corps, and after the Corps, he helped develop markets for green tech construction products and helped found 2 technology companies. In addition to his role as the Executive Director of Bunker Labs, Hogan serves on the Director of Business Partnerships for the Nashville Entrepreneur Center, where he works as a, quote, professional dot connector. Would you like to say a few words, Blake?
So Bunker Labs was launched with this really simple idea that we could launch the next greatest generation. So after World War II, you had 16 million veterans who came home and started businesses, almost half of them. So if I got out in 1946, I could walk up to Eric and say, how'd you do it? And you'd have that professional network like you've got right now. Well, we've been out kicking ass for the next 17 years. And so when we got home after the post 9/11 wars, we didn't have that density. So what we started doing is connecting dots for each other so that you could get connected to Rob Wincoop so he could grow his rural broadband company, and you could help Nate grow his company. And now we've got 18 locations around the country, and we're rolling out to the next, over the next 3 years into all across the United States. And we're doing it right here in Tennessee, in Nashville, Knoxville, Clarksville, Chattanooga, and Memphis. And the idea is really simple. If at the end of the day, when you go to start your business, if the right person is on the end of the phone when you need them, you're going to be able to launch and grow. And you're going to be able to learn things quickly. So one of our favorite companies is a woman by the name of Jax Taylor. Jax got out of the Army, and she said, you know what, I really want to do something with agricultural. So she did what everybody would do. She went and bought a bunch of goats. And she started a mobile goat mowing business. Which, when you think about it, is a really great business model because they never need to be on your land. You feed them with other people's property, and they pay you to do it. Thanks, Jax will like that. 11 months after doing that, she signed her first 6-figure contract with Costco. And you're never going to have a labor dispute with a goat, so she's off and running. Or you take a guy like Neil Whitney, who moved from San Francisco because he wanted to be in Tennessee where he could start a family. Neil worked for Apple. He was an Army guy, and then he was an Intel guy. And he started a tech company, and we were able to help make a few connections. He's now gone on to raise north of $1 million and is going to probably sell his company this year for probably close to $50 million. And the idea is really simple. You get leaders together, like Jonathan, like Eric, and all of you in the room, and you do one thing. You say, how can I help you? And because of that, we've been able to help over 400 companies do over $50 million in revenue. They've raised over $30 million in capital, and the thing I'm most proud of is they've created nearly 2,000 jobs. So I want to thank TVBA for what they're doing here and all around the country to make sure that the right resource at the right relationship is connected to the right entrepreneur. So thank you to Dr. Eric Barton, thank you to Jonathan Williams, and thank you to everyone at the Tennessee Veterans Business Association. You can find out more at bunkerlabs.org, and we'll be over here, and we're really honored to be a part of this. So thank you to Eric and to Jonathan for this amazing evening, and I'm excited to hear from Black Hawk Down.
Wow, great speech. Thank you, Blake. We appreciate it. This is going to be the end of my part of this, but thank you once again, all of your service that all of you have done for our fine country, and I really appreciate it from my heart, and I hope you have a safe trip home, okay? Right now, Jonathan Williams, he's the head of the program right here, and we would like for you to come up and speak for a moment, Jonathan, if you'd like to. Okay. All right.
Thank you again.
Told you guys this is weird. I don't do like this and then this and then that and then that. So anyway, thank you guys very much. I mean, it's been such a unique privilege and honor to already be here with, I've known Patrice for 7 years now. Very first start of TVBA, she was right there at the beginning. And she's been a huge part of what we've done, and realized I knew Blake from a program called Entrepreneur Boot Camp for Veterans. He's also a graduate, myself as a graduate, Milton's a graduate, trying to get Rob to go. Maybe some more in here, I'm not sure. But already knew Blake as well, so turns out to be a really small world. Before I get this started, there's one special guest that I want to recognize, and I apologize for having to read this, but I don't want to miss a word, so we're going to do that. There's an honor guest here today who is a retired Air Force Captain William Bill Robinson, who was the longest held enlisted prisoner of war in American history. While serving as a crew chief aboard a U.S. Air Force rescue helicopter, Airman First Class William A. Robinson was shot down and captured in Hanoi Tin Province, North Vietnam on September 20th, 1965. He endured 2,703 days in a number of North Vietnamese prison camps, facing daily privations, and endured the full range of North Vietnamese torture programs. It's an honor to have you here, sir. So if you would please stand and let us recognize you. Thank you, sir. And also, as you're planning events, certain things happen. And one thing that happened this year, we were also prepared to have another guest be with us tonight, but unfortunately he passed away. So I would like to have a brief moment of silence for Captain Jerry Yellen, who flew the last combat mission of World War II. Mr. Yellen was originally scheduled to be our keynote speaker this year, but he died December 23rd. He was 93 years old. So if we could have a quick moment of silence for Mr. Yellen. Thank you very much. So one thing tonight that I wanted to talk about is change. And that's kind of, every year I kind of give a little bit of state of the TVBA and state of things that are going on in life and things that I see them. And today the conversation has changed because obviously the TVBA went through an enormous amount of change. And change is not only here and happening right before us, but change is all around us. And it's extremely exciting, and it's a very good part to be in. Everything that's happened to the TVBA over the last 2 years has been all positive. 6 years ago, January 2016, we had our last keynote event, dinner, if you will, that Dino mentioned. And it was a great night. It was high energy, very much like tonight. We had Noah Galloway was a keynote speaker. We had a lot of people here today. And it was really good. But right after that event happened in February 2016, the TVBA and my current life, we went on a crossroads. It's like, what do we do now? What happens next? And what happens next for the TVBA wasn't really identified until 2017 when Eric and his group came back along. But when you start back to look at the change of what happened, the TVBA up until 2016, we were a very powerful organization. We helped a lot of people. We connected a lot of people. As Blake said, we connected a lot of dots. We did it all locally, but we did some pretty powerful stuff. We helped launch a lot of businesses. We helped a lot of veterans. We helped do a lot of different things. But 2016, it was kind of like trying to do something different and didn't really know what that difference was going to be. And so you kind of step back and you look at things a little bit differently, and then you try to understand what's going to happen next. Well, then you try to step back and look at just the changes going on all around you. And if you guys are paying attention to what's going on in Knoxville, Tennessee, there is an enormous amount of change going on in this city, and it's all extremely good and extremely positive. As my very good friend Joe Fox and a other business partner on some other endeavors has told me several times that these are the good old days. And I firmly believe that. You're going to look back in this city in 2017, 18, 19, 2020. You're going to look back on these years 20, 30 years from now and be like, these are the good old days, because this city is changing right in front of us. From Market Square to South Waterfront to Old City to Hops and Holler Happy Holler, all the way up and down, Magnolia, Park Ridge, it's changing dramatically, and it's a really good thing to be a part of. And I encourage you guys in Knoxville, if you guys aren't a part of this change, if you guys are stuck out in Turkey Creek, you guys need to come down here and join us, because this is, it's pretty cool happening down here, and I'm honored to be a part of it. I live down here with Joe and Milton. We bought property down here. Joe is changing downtown Knoxville himself personally, I think. But it's been pretty cool to watch and be a part of. So change is happening all around us, and it's been really cool and a lot of fun to be a part of. So the other part of change is me personally change. I did not, as I've been told tonight, disappear. I have not been around much over the last 2 years, at least in the veteran community. 2016, I decided to make a change in my own life, and I decided to do some things a little bit different and figure out what was next for me. And what was next for me was inspiration from another gentleman over here named Andre, who I met right before New Year's Eve of 2015, who said he was going to go do a cross-country bicycle trip, and I said, I'm in, let's go. Well, it took me a year and a half to actually go out and do my own, but in January 2016, the last TVBA dinner happened, and when I left on my trip in May of 2016, I had no idea what was getting ready to happen, but I ended up cycling 4,200 miles from Newport Beach, California to Seattle, Seattle to Virginia Beach, and that's where I went. I didn't just disappear, I got on a bike and took off. Inspirational trip, changed my life forever. It was fantastic. I mean, everything about how I look at life changed dramatically. So much so that I wanted to do it again. But this time, I brought Andre along with me. We completed a ride summer of 2017 that we called the Unity Ride. We did 3,000 miles in 35 days. Made a documentary film talking about life in general and things like the state of our country. We are two different people. So we called our ride the Unity Ride. I'm a white conservative, Andre's a black liberal. We kind of come together. We hung out for 35 days. We rode a lot of miles on a bicycle, and we made a documentary about it. And it was a very, very powerful experience when it was all said and done. So that's two things that changed my life dramatically, but I could never have gotten to that point of change if I didn't do one thing different. And the one thing different that I embrace and change now is I truly and sincerely embrace the opportunity to fail. Because if I didn't embrace the opportunity to fail, I never would have got on a bicycle in Newport Beach and went off north with a tent and basically 2 changes of tire tubes, and that's it. I took off. And that was it. That's all I had. Some clothes and whatever, but I didn't have anything else. You didn't know over the next hill, around the next corner, you just don't know what's next. So I truly embraced the opportunity to fail. And I think by having done that, by embracing that opportunity to fail, I was able to accept change a whole lot more than I would have before. And that goes to the fact that TVBA, Eric and his group embraced the opportunity to fail because they picked up something that was a year kind of dormant, a little bit of hibernation, but they picked that up as well. Bruce and Milton have embraced the opportunity to fail along with me in accord, but we have grown tremendously over the last 3 to 4 years. So I think that that's been probably the biggest change in my life and why I kind of disappeared to go off and do some things on my own, because I really needed that challenge, but I really didn't need that opportunity to fail. And I failed a lot, but we are here today based on that opportunity. Because if I never would have taken that opportunity, I never would have saw the things that I saw and did the things that I did. So thank you guys very much. I am still here. I've not vanished and disappeared. So we do appreciate you guys, and thank you, Eric and his group. That table back there with Steve and Slim and Marge and Karen and Stephanie and April, and I'm gonna miss some of you guys back there. But they're the ones that took this over and kind of got this thing back to where it needs to be, and that's why we're here tonight with their effort and what they've done and Eric's leadership and this group back here. So thank you guys very much, and Mr. Tom.
All right, wife of Delta Force Command Sergeant Major Tom Satterly, Jen commits her life to helping veterans and their families. She speaks of the challenges facing the veteran's spouse, family after a lifetime of supporting the choice to serve, the struggle to reintegrate with the family, the community, and life in general. So let's please welcome Jen Satterly to the stage and hear her story.
so much to the Tennessee Veterans Business Association for having Tom and I here tonight. It's an honor to be here with all of you. I love that we're talking about change tonight. Tom and I have been through a lot of change over the last few years. We're currently working with Congress right now to bring about change in the way that the military currently views post-traumatic stress. I changed my career from 15 years in marketing and advertising, had a successful photography and film business to help veterans with their transition, their time of change. Because Tom and I certainly faced a lot of those challenges. I met Tom after service, and he was transitioning from a life that he loved, was passionate about, and had to find new footing. So how did I get there? Like I said, I was working in traditional advertising. I was working with Jack Daniels and Miller Brewing Company. I was working, doing all the branding and marketing for a sports line called Earbuds. And I got a phone call one day to show up to this special operations military exercise. And although my dad served in the Air Force and my brother just retired from the Air Force, I knew nothing about the military. I had spent time in, just had left a big fashion campaign and thought, what am I gonna do when I show up with the SEALs? But why not? So I grabbed my gear and I showed up and I started filming these massive exercises called RMTs, or realistic military training exercises. I learned about TTPs and CQBs and more acronyms than I was comfortable with. Frankly, I had a little Google app next to me all the time that, what is he saying? What is he saying? And I did work with Tom and I would look at him, he's like, nobody knows. Anyway, don't worry about it. And I had a book with 6 pages and somebody else would be like, it's gonna change tomorrow anyway. So I spent 3 years going on missions with the SEALs or Green Berets or Rangers. And a lot of my civilian friends thought I had this Hollywood type of lifestyle. I'd be gone for days or weeks, sleeping very little, and getting to ride in Blackhawks and getting shot at. I'd come home bruised and burnt, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have a clearance, I can't tell you. But really, it wasn't always that exciting. But one of the things I think that struck me quickly was I was working with these SEALs or Green Berets right before they would deploy. So yes, they were taking down buildings in Miami, or we would be in the Bahamas doing missions, but I would look at their faces, and it wasn't a Hollywood type of experience. I saw fear, and I saw the reality of what was coming next, which was this mission overseas. And so I took my job very seriously, because my small part of filming the exercise, going through countless hours of footage, so that the command could look at the footage and not see what was going right, but what was going wrong, and where the holes in the training were, so that they could come back safe. So I took this job very seriously, and I loved every minute of it. But I soon felt that I was being called for my own change. I started talking to not a SEAL or a Green Beret, but Bill or Mike or Tom, and they would pull out their phones and they would show me pictures of their children, their girlfriends, wives. I would hear stories about the challenges they faced overseas, but mainly I'd hear about the challenges they faced at home. And I knew that although I loved my 3 years filming these RMTs, I had work to do here. And so after 15 years of working very hard to build a reputation and a name in film and photography, at 41, I quit it all, went back to school, became certified as a coach, and knew that I had a mission in life to help transitioning veterans and their families, to find the footing that Tom and I had been desperately looking for ourselves the last few years. See, I couldn't tell you the first thing about what it's like to serve overseas. I got a taste of the mission and what it was like here. but I never had to leave a gate. I never had to go out and lose someone I loved and then go out that same gate the next night because that's what I signed up to do. I can't even tell you what it's like to be a wife of my husband who's deployed because I married Tom after service. And although he did a lot of military contracts and training, and he'd be gone for weeks or months at a time, so I kind of had a taste of what single mom was like, but I knew he was coming home. And I never had to lay in bed at night and think, dear God, please let him be the one to make it back in the gate. I think that the spouses are widely not given the credit that's due. They have to be the mother and the father, or the father and the mother. They have to be in 5 places at once. They have to take care of the home and the yard, and if the engine light goes on, they got to figure out where to take it, along with getting to football practice, dance lessons, taking care of the homework. It is a full-time job. And then when their husband or wife comes home, most often they're facing post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injury. So I'd like to say to any of the spouses or caregivers of the veteran active duty, could you please stand up? Anyone? Thank you. Thank you. Our spouses are fighting a war at home, and it's just as noble, so thank you for your service to this country. What I can talk a little bit about is what it's like to be a wife of a combat warrior, someone who has left service but is still facing the trauma of combat. I can tell you that post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury gives us both nightmares. And that substance abuse sometimes is a long war in itself. So I left my career. I started working with veterans. I've talked to well over 100 now and their spouses. And I've learned a lot, and we kind of helped each other. No 2 stories are the same. And we kind of all started over together. And while I'd love to talk about some of the great stories, I'll leave that to Tom. But there's 5 things that kind of have become universal when I work with veterans who are transitioning. But I think they kind of pertain to all of us really too. And the first one is something that I really try to embody every day, which is what you choose to focus on becomes your reality. We all have these stories that we tell ourselves, and it doesn't matter what field you're in. I can't do that job. I don't have enough experience. I'm too old to start over. What if my friends laugh at me? What if my brothers don't get what I want to do next? What if my family doesn't like this new career or job or dream that I want to pursue? And we could focus on those fears, and we can make those our story, or we can create new stories. And we have to tell ourselves those stories over and over again until we believe them. But when you focus on the fears and you focus on that, you're missing the countless opportunities and possibilities that are right in front of you. So release those fears, create new stories, and repeat them until you believe them. One of my favorite quotes is, "Life is an illusion created by perception, and it can be changed the moment you decide to change it." Number 2, the couch is your enemy. So this one I hear from the wives mainly, which is, "Jen, I'm burning that couch down," or the recliner in the garage, or the bed, it doesn't matter. Whatever is keeping you stationary needs to be burnt down or go away. So number 2 is to move and keep moving. Number 3, you become like the 5 people you associate most closely with. I've seen this over and over again, getting caught in drama or abuse or negativity and feeling stuck in that. And I tell them, you are going to be The people that you surround yourself, do you want to embody those traits? No. Okay. I'm not saying not to help. I'm saying not to get stuck in the wormhole. If you want to be successful, find people who are successful. Find positivity. Choose wisely who you surround yourself with. Number 4, and I think this one was very true because it was one of the things that helped pull Tom out of his depression, which is to never stop serving. Tom signed up one day to serve this country, and I think when he stopped serving, a big hole was left in his heart. And so one day he got up and I said, go into the soup kitchen. And he did not want to go, never want to go. But as soon as he started giving back and serving this country again, yes, in a different capacity, but he was serving. He met people he never would have met before. He loved it so much that he was up 2 hours early and started feeling whole again. So never stop serving. This country still needs you. And 5, be fearless in the pursuit of whatever sets your soul on fire. Things that you are passionate about are not random. They are your calling. And as soon as you begin to follow your dreams, everything in your life starts to lighten up and waken up. And I've seen marriages turn around just because that person made the decision today to be fearless in the pursuit of their dream. So I really appreciate you guys having Tom and I here tonight. I know everybody wants to hear some Black Hawk Down, so thank you so much for your time.
So now I'd like to introduce to you the keynote speaker for the evening, Delta Force Command Sergeant Major Tom Satterly. Tom Satterly is a highly decorated combat veteran who, along with his teammates, was portrayed in the Oscar-winning 2001 film Black Hawk Down. He served in the Army 25 years, 20 in the U.S. military's most elite and secretive special operations unit, Delta Force. Welcome, Mr. Tom Satterly.
First time doing that. I want to thank the TVBA and Dr. Eric Barton. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. I don't want to thank whoever put her in front of me and invited so many honorable people to the room. Bill, if I may. I don't even know what to say to you. But thank you. I can't even imagine. So following my wife is pretty horrible, but following her in life is wonderful. It's been an amazing journey for me. It's been a roller coaster. It's one tonight. As she spoke, I find myself so emotional I can barely breathe at times, and that started day one when she saved my life, and we'll get to that. I know a lot of people want to hear Black Hawk Down stories. They're hard to tell, so forgive me, I'll get through them. They're not like the movie. Nothing's like the movies. The movies are exciting and sexy and romantic. And I've never met anybody that says they want to be in a firefight that has been in a firefight. Those who say they want to are the new guys. Run from them, they're crazy. So the greatest failure. What is the greatest failure? To me, the greatest failure is the failure to try. We've talked about two things tonight, change and fear, in my opinion. And those two go together. If you're fearless, you'll change. And if you have fear, you're changeless. So if you can keep that in mind in life, keep pushing forward, remove the fear, and create change, because it is inevitable. There's nothing in life that does not change. Everything changes, so go with it. So what does that mean for you? Never take no for an answer. Never, ever take no for an answer. Accept failure as a part of life and embrace it. If you've never failed in here, raise your hand. If no one's ever failed at anything, raise your hand. I want to meet you right now. I want to know what your secret is, because I've failed at so many things, and I had the fear of failing every time. And I kept going and I never quit. And that's the only thing that's kept me alive. It's the only thing that's kept me going, and that will be the only thing that keeps me going, is accepting that I'm going to fail again and embracing it and just keep going. The only thing you take with fear is to put it in your little after-action review for yourself and how to make yourself better in life. Who in the room has ever felt inadequate? I do right now. Look at this room full of people. I've felt inadequate every day of my life. I felt incomplete. I felt unable to complete my mission. I felt unworthy of being where I was, and I hated myself for it, but I kept going. I make it to what I feel is the greatest unit on the planet, and I felt even more inadequate. And all I did was put my head down and keep going to try to be like the person next to me. And it took me 20 years in that unit to retire and finally start talking to people to find out everybody in that building felt the same way. So I had a universal feeling on that one. We all feel inadequate. We all think we're hiding something from each other, but we're all hiding the same thing. We feel inadequate. We feel we wish I was like Eric. I wish I was like Jim. Sir, I don't want to wish upon myself what you went through. I can't imagine, but you made it. You made it, right? There's nothing in this planet that could stop you now. So my wife talked about surrounding yourself by the top 5. Surround yourself with greatness. Grab as much greatness as you can, emulate it, and be just like it. You may never attain it, but if you never quit, you'll always keep trying, and you'll get closer and closer every time. I'm gonna get past a lot of this stuff and get to the stories in a second, I promise. When we quit and we don't try, we become stagnant. And like the couch and the bed, we lay there and we have no more forward movement, and then we slowly die. Nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to keep rolling. The only thing holding us back is ourselves. Right? We can blame everybody else because it's easy. I blamed my wife for years for my problems. And she stood up for it and she stood up to me. And that's why I'm still with her. The only person to blame in life is yourself. You make your own way. You never quit, ever, ever, until you succeed. Confidence, for those of you looking for a job. Who's looking for a job tomorrow? I know there's a lot of people with jobs in here, and there's a lot of money in here trying to look for people with jobs. But if you're in here looking for a job, confidence is sexy. You can smell confidence. The recruiters tomorrow will see it. You as business leaders, you see someone confident, you know it. You see some timidity walk into the room and you're kind of suspect about it. If somebody can't sell themselves, then they don't believe in themselves and not the confidence, you may take pause, correct? So confidence is visible. There's a thin line between that and cocky. Humble confidence every day wins over cockiness. And what is the difference? I tell you how good I am, or you see how good I am. Those who run around and tell you how great they are, and I don't want to hear those stories. Those are probably the guys making it up anyway. There's a lot of us out there that make up stories and social media. They're chasing those guys down with stolen valor. Nobody likes those, and those people die fast. That's cockiness. So my words of wisdom, where did I learn them? The same school we all went to is life. We all have a different path. I have something I could learn from each and every one in here. And I definitely don't feel better than anybody in this room, and I never have. I know that I can learn from people, I want to learn from people, and I want to give to people whenever I can. I don't force things down anybody's throat. I offer up training, I offer up guidance, I offer up wisdom, just on what I've learned. But I also know, just like combat, I could be standing next to somebody in combat, and what I see and what he sees, even though we're looking at the exact same thing, are two different stories. The way our brains translate things that we are thrust into in horrible environments are vastly different. So I learned to listen to everybody. My wife and I are completely polar opposites. mean, I was a military guy. She was a creative. I mean, how separate can that be? And for her to put up with me, I knew right away. I knew right away how to keep her. So I grew up poor. I grew up humble. I grew up bullied every day. My parents worked, both blue-collar workers. I walked to the pool in the summers and I would get beat up every day by the same two people. No matter what path I took, they seemed to be there. So I just stood there with my hands on my side crying. I'll be like this my whole life, it's horrible. And then one day, a switch flipped and I savagely attacked the guy. I realized that every obstacle can be overcome. And I just had enough. And that's the day the switch flipped, that if I stand there and do nothing, nothing happens. And so though my parents did not promote violence in any way, and I got in trouble for that as well, they didn't know about the other months of me just taking it. I just finally let go. And that's the kind of the day the switch flipped for me. I went from being insecure to finding a little more security. I went from being a little more immature to being a little more mature, understanding the difference between fighting, do I need to fight, do I need to defend myself and protect myself and stand up for myself. And when you don't, no one else will do it for you. I've learned to mirror my good leaders and my peers. You're good leaders and you're good peers. And that goes with surrounding yourself by the top 5. Mirror those people. They're successful. They're doing it right. Don't do it for the money. The money comes when you do it for the right reasons. I've seen a lot recently about people chasing money and pushing for money and business is this, business that with money. I run away from that. I go for the true cause. And the money will come if it's going to come. I don't care. I have a true deep calling, and I fought it for a long time, and I know deep in my heart now what it is, and it's to help as many veterans with PTSD as I possibly can to save their lives, because they can get back to our communities. We need their leadership that they once provided in service in our civilian communities now. We need them in our homes, we need them in our businesses, and we need them in our neighborhoods. And they're hiding out there, and they need help. I joined the Army on a whim one day. I was on my way to a John Cougar concert in Indianapolis. And a friend of mine just got back from basic training. He was telling me all about basic training. It sounded so cool. I was building houses at the time. I just graduated high school and I was going to go to Indiana University. And I think I'd already wasted some of my parents' money there anyway. And I joined that night. Found a recruiter at the concert and joined, and then went home and told my parents, who freaked out. And I spent 3 years in the regular army, and I was kind of introduced. My platoon sergeant in Germany was a Hungarian platoon sergeant, former Hungarian platoon sergeant. So he had introduced, luckily, me and my platoon to German French commando school. I got to go to German Ranger School, platoon confidence training at Bad Tolz. I had a little more in-depth view of what heavy training was, what special operations was, even though I really had no idea. So instead of quick 4 in, get some money, get out and go to college again, which was my entire plan. Long blink later, 25 years and I'm retiring, but I decided to re-enlist, and I couldn't get special forces because I hadn't gone to PLDC yet, because I'd gotten promoted to E5 too fast. So I had to just re-up for airborne school just to get to Fort Bragg. Just those little bits of life to get what you want. And I got to Fort Bragg. Went through SFAS, the Q course, and while I'm in the Q course, 2 people approached me just as language school starting, and they're like, "We think you should try for Delta." And I'm like, "Well, why is that?" And they're like, "Well, we just think you have what it takes." I had no idea. I mean, I knew about it a little bit, and my answer was basically, why not? Right? Why not? What if I fail? Well, I could use that same thing my entire life and never get anywhere. So I just did it. I signed up. As I was in language school, I had a deployment date. So I get stationed in 5th Group. I go to 5th Group at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and those guys are deployed to the first Gulf War, and I'm non-deployable with a selection date. So I'm wondering, all right, what am I going to do but train all the time? So they come home from their deployment. I'd already gone to selection and made it. And they're asking me, who are you? What battalion are you in? I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm on the way out the door. So I get 3 quick years in the unit. And then I get thrust into my first combat mission. So we'd had about 5 missions prior to 3 October, and nothing too exciting. A couple of shots fired, people getting a little nervous, people getting rowdy and spunky, but it's what I thought combat was. Nobody gets hurt, everybody shoots at each other, and we all go home, right? It's like the movies. And then 3 October, it's a Sunday, it was about noon, 1 o'clock, I think. I just got done with a 5-mile run with a couple guys on my team, which is not the best time to go out on a mission, right after a 5-mile run. And people were spinning, you know, other than the commander was taped to his cot. I guess he was supposed to be here tonight, General Gary Harold. We had taped him down to his cot. They were playing volleyball, and they grabbed the commanders and taped him to the cot, and they propped him up. We're making fun of them, and then a mission pops, and everybody gets serious. And it was a 1-hour mission. Go in to get some of Muhammad Adid's top leaders, grab them, come on out. We'll fly in, get on the convoy, drive out. Everything's good to go, just like always. So what started off as a 1-hour mission where we took 1 bottle of water and no night vision became the longest sustained firefight since Vietnam. We had no idea what to expect. We had, there's no way we could have envisioned it. We had some combat veterans with us, but nothing like this. You do your mission on infill, immediately we're taking fire, RPGs, bullets are hitting the helicopter. Ranger falls 90 feet, lands on the ground. We have to stuff him in a vehicle and get him back immediately. Our helicopter's taking fire, and I knew immediately something was different. We were going in the hornet's nest. And my team got infilled about 3 blocks north of the most northern Ranger blocking position, which was supposed to keep the bad guys out from the target site. So we're outside of that, and then trying to find our way in through all the brown out. Finally get to the target, throw everybody in the back of the 5 tons, we're getting ready to roll out, and I look up and I see an RPG flying through the air, and the tail rotor of the first crash helicopter gets hit. It's spinning out of control. I knew immediately the mission had changed. Making plans, hear about a second helicopter getting shot down, there was no way to make it. The convoys are trying to make it there, they can't make it. And so we knew we had to pack up and start running down the streets. We're basically heading east, and 2 blocks north of us was about 300 Somalians heading east as well, trying to beat us to the crash site. So we're giving up speed, we're giving up security for speed, try to get there before any of the survivors were taken hostage or killed. And every intersection we crossed, just RPGs, machine gun fire, AK-47 fire. And I could tell you, I wanted to go home immediately. You do your job, you have to do your job. But I'd be lying if I didn't tell you I was terrified. I'd probably guess if anybody was been in combat before and you told me you weren't terrified, I'd probably think you were covering something up as well. It's not fun. We were light, we had plastic helmets. The Rangers had regular helmets, we had plastic helmets. We want to be fast and light. I had taken my Kevlar vest and made it as small as it would possibly go. I sewed it myself. Everything was nice and tight and I could run as fast as possible, but you can't outrun a bullet, that's for sure. We figured that out. Turned the corner to head north to go 2 more blocks to the crash site, and I look across the street and there's a friend of mine who's dealing business down the street. I turn, I start shooting down the street as well, and I look back and 2 of my friends are dragging him away. It was that fast. He got shot right in the head through the plastic helmet. Didn't get to say goodbye, thank you. You don't get time to mourn because they're coming for you next. So you gotta keep going. Push down the street, get to the crash site, drag more bodies in, more RPGs, more friends are lost. And then you spend the entire night without water and food. You're sleep deprived, you're dehydrated, and your building's getting hit with RPGs all night long, and it's definitely not like the movies. The bodies are stacking up. And then when the rescue force arrives the next morning with their armored vehicles and their Humvees, and they pull the crashed helicopter off the bodies, which the only reason we stayed that long was to get the pilots out. They were trapped underneath the windscreens, they were flipped under and they couldn't be pulled out, so we wanted to pull the helicopters off their bodies. And we'd go home without everybody, so. Finally get them off, time to load up, get out of here in the armored vehicle, and open up the back door, and it's so full of wounded, and the top's so covered in dead that you find out you have to run the Mogadishu Mile. So these vehicles are supposed to slowly roll out with you to provide protection. Well, guess what? Those plans only last about 2 minutes, right, into execution, and then they change. Those vehicles took off. Left about half of the force, which was the only people left, back open to gunfire and RPG fire again, just running. So there we were, running on the open streets. taking fire, literally picking up magazines on the ground, knocking the dirt off, reloading the magazine into your gun because we're out of ammo. And finally get back to that point where all the tanks are. And I remember thinking, oh, we're here. We're in the middle of Somalia still in Mogadishu, but there's tanks, there's armored vehicles, there's Humvees, 10th Mountain Division's here. Happy, happy, happy. We load up into 2 Humvees, and we took off, and I have no idea. We're just shooting at everybody, shooting everywhere. Everybody's hunkered down. And our 2 Humvees, busting through burning tires and roadblocks, turned right, and apparently everybody else went left. So out of the entire convoy that goes to the Pakistani stadium, our 2 vehicles go to the back gate of the airfield, taking fire the entire time. And we make it in there, we have no idea where everyone is. I have no idea where my team leader is. I'm with one other guy from my team. I'm with another guy from another team and a medic, and then 10th Mountain guys. And I have no idea where the rest of my trooper squadron are. So we wait in the back gate for about 20 minutes, and they don't show up. We don't hear any radio traffic, so we roll into all the way around the airfield, and we're going to roll into our hangar. And that's when I see about 15 to 18 American bodies lined up, just laying on the road next to the medical tent. And that's when it all sinks in. One of them was sandbagged, had RPG sticking out of his side, hadn't gone off, it was so close that they had to sandbag it for the EOD and the doctors to remove it. And I have no idea where the rest of our people are. So all we can do is reload, grab some water, ready to go back out. Did I want to go back out? No. No way. Would I? Yes. Would I go back today? Yes. Was I diagnosed with PTSD? No. And the simple fact of the matter was, when the psychiatrist asked me if I would go back, I stated yes. I would go back. And she says, you don't meet the requirements for PTSD. And I said, I don't want it then. Because I don't want to go back, but I'll go back. And that's when we decided to try to figure this out and change it. So what did I learn all that from? What did I learn from all that? That there are two types of people in the world. There are leaders and there are managers. And a manager is somebody who sits back and points the direction they want you to go, and tells you where to go, how to get there. And a leader is somebody that shows you the way and goes with you and leads the way. And I chose to be that leader. I chose to embrace what I don't want to talk about, admit my weakness, admit my problems openly, and to try to help other people. I could sit back and manage and talk about it, like on Facebook and share. I mean, that's about as far as that goes. And I try to tell everybody, you can like and share all you want. Donate, help, talk to somebody, get on the phone and call. Talk to somebody who needs it. I learned to lead with love and not fear. A lot of my friends still look at me and they're like, oh, you're hardcore. What's going on? Lead with love and not fear. What is that poetic crap? I'm like, yeah, it's poetic crap I learned from my wife, because let's break it down. If you lead with fear, they'll follow you when you're there. They'll always follow you when you're there because they fear you. But if you lead with love, they'll follow you when you're gone. They'll follow you when you're somewhere else. And they'll do what you need them to do. And I learned that from my wife. So I talked about confidence. People looking for jobs. It oozes off of you. It's something that I lack half of my life. I lack it today. I lack the confidence to do the things I want to do. But if it's in your heart, it's always there. And that's what I want to tell everybody, that if you truly believe it, and I watched my wife speak tonight, and I was getting emotional for I don't know what reasons. Maybe I'm at that age now. Everything makes me cry now. But I've learned so much from her, and I've learned so much about transition and how to handle my own problems. It was 5 years ago this year when we had just met, and she was filming one of our training exercises. I didn't even know her. I didn't know who she was. We were in Ohio, Akron, Ohio, and I was sitting in the parking garage after the training day, and I had a gun on my lap. And I had 2 thoughts in my head. Do I put it in my mouth, or do I put it in the side of my head so I didn't screw it up? And my phone vibrated, and scared me. I kind of grabbed it and read it, and I was supposed to meet them in the hotel lobby, and I was late. And not wanting to be late, it threw me off track of what I was doing at that moment. I slid the gun back under the car seat and went and met her, and ended up marrying her. Saved my life that day, literally, and she's been saving my life and as many people as listened to her as she could since then. And that's what I would tell you tonight. If you could take anything away from anybody, take away that we all talk about fear and change, and that we're all afraid of something, and that we're all afraid of change, but just embrace it. Embrace the failure, love it, push it further, take it with you, and every time you drop it, pick it back up. So I was going to say to a lot of people, go out tomorrow and be brave and look for those jobs, but I don't think we have a lot of those people in here tonight, right? They're coming tomorrow looking for jobs, so go easy on them tomorrow if you're part of that. All right? I was going to talk a lot about the transition from military to civilian life and how scary it can be, and it was terrifying for me. I got out and I immediately went into something that was almost just like the military. But I lived overseas in Jordan for a year and a half to do it. And everybody can tell you one thing in their military career. They can't tell you when that slow transition from civilian to military happened. Did it happen in basic? Did it happen in EIT? Did it happen in that first year? No, I can't pinpoint it. I don't know a lot of people who can. But I bet anybody who's been in the military can tell me what it was like the day you got off that bus with those drill sergeants screaming at you. Day one. Can everybody go right back to that day? About 15 people making you cry for no reason. If you can make it through that, you can make it through anything in life. And that's, I think, what it's all about. It's just those who quit, they got to day one, and it's the only day they'll ever get. Those who stuck with it, just keep chugging on in life, and we all do the same thing. All right, I've talked enough. I'm here to answer questions or elaborate on any more things that anybody wants to talk about. I'm truly honored to be here among the people in this room, and I'm so glad that you asked us to come. I mean, I'm kind of sad about the circumstances. I was talking to Steve outside about the flow of who's going to speak tonight. I'm glad we started with George Bush and ended up with me, but I was down the line. But again, he did not quit. He didn't, he didn't give up until he found me. So that was good. Thanks, Steve. So does anybody have any questions? Somebody's got to be first, and then we'll open up.
Yeah, I got one.
Yes.
I guess it's more of a comment than a question. I was shot in Afghanistan, so I just want to do this.
No fun.
No.
No fun. But I'm glad you're standing here. He just gave me the eyes. Anybody else want to?
Hey, brother, thank you for my humble Marine heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
How can we help you with your mission?
That's more of a question for my wife, since she's smarter than me. We're currently starting a nonprofit called All Secure Foundation, and we've just filed for a 501c3. And we're basically a resource library for veterans who need help. We partner with others like Warriors Foundation, Reboot, Colorado, Mission 22. The list is growing. We've got therapists and psychiatrists that work with children and wives and family members and, of course, veterans themselves. We find a lot of issues are in the families. We bring home the dirty boots, and the wives have to clean up the carpet, so to speak. We're trying to push more towards the family because it's a unit, and it's not just the veteran. If you help a veteran, you've helped about 5 other people. You've helped their kids, their wives, their moms and dads who have to deal with their, my crap. I come with a lot of baggage. So we're trying to help out families. So we're not set up yet to take large donations for the tax write-offs, but we're getting there this year. And so I think, yeah, anyway, you can check it out at allsecurefoundation.org. And there's all kinds of ways to help out and donate or offer services there.
Thank you for your honesty. You helped me with my baggage. Thank you.
We all have baggage. Some of us hide it better than others. Yes, sir.
Oh, it was like.
Tom, the night the Black Hawk Down incident happened, I was the air boss on USS Denver, LPD-9 with the New Orleans ARG. We were coming out of Hong Kong to evade a typhoon, and we were the ready force that was sent immediately on the news to roll in and relieve you guys. And I just wanted to kind of know, while it was happening, did you have any sense for the fact that there were thousands of other people in the military that were being activated, your buddies, to come in and to try to do something to suppress and contain the situation? Or did you feel at that time that you were totally alone?
I felt like I was with about 7 other people in my house with no clue of where anyone else was in the troop. Find out the next day and the years after that they were spread out along the street, that I was the furthest north and the furthest west of the crash site. I had no idea the severity of it until the next day when we made it back to the hangar and we started watching TV. And then we all started freaking about our families. What do they hear? It's been on the news all night. Literally had no idea.
We knew thousands of people coming across the IO.
We knew we wanted
try to
more.
roll in and help you guys. And, God bless you for having made it through. I couldn't watch the movie Black Hawk Down for about a decade after that. Just I was so angry. But there were a lot of people that were trying to get there.
I made it through the original screening when they invited us to watch it at Fort Bragg. I have not been able to watch it since. I tried several months ago. It didn't work out, but I appreciate it. I think my wife was watching it with her mom on TV as it happened. Yeah, we had no idea. Well, if that's it, I truly appreciate the opportunity to be up here and share my stories with you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jen. Also, a little birdie told us yesterday was your birthday. Let's sing him happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Here comes the cake. Happy birthday, dear Tom. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, Tom and Jen, for being here. Happy birthday, Tom. Now, Mr. Jonathan, the floor is yours.
Real quick, Tom, I want to thank you and Jen for coming in. It's been a great night tonight. Thank all the TVBA sponsors. And if you haven't noticed, there's some cards on the table. I'm one of the ambassadors, Steve Stilts, Katie Eastman. So please take one of those cards. If you have any questions, suggestions, or complaints, she'll take the complaints. I'll take the suggestions. Thank y'all again. And go ahead and mark your calendar. We're going to do this again next year. It's sort of like Thanksgiving. It's the last Monday and Tuesday of January. So 2019, the next TVBA, the 8th annual, will be then. Look forward to seeing y'all. Thank you.
I don't know if we're done or not. That's Steve Stilts with the closing remarks. I'm not sure, but I do. Love you, Steve. Steve is way better at all that stuff than I am anyway. So, but I do want to say one more quick thing. Obviously, thank you, Tom, and your lovely bride for being here and blessing us with that story. That was an incredible journey that you guys have been on, and everyone else that's here. But as Steve said, with Eric's leadership and leadership of Steve and Katie and the whole TVBA organization now, that's really starting to gain traction and really go do some really cool stuff again. So we greatly appreciate that. I miss you guys. I miss you guys a lot. I mean, being here tonight, like, man, wow. But I have a mantra in life that you guys have all heard many times, and I've kind of added a little bit to it. But my mantra forever has been, if you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. And that's been for about the last 8 years of my life, is trying to do things over and over again that I've never done, and really trying to challenge myself and grow as a person. Well, the other one came along about a year ago, and it's basically pretty simple. You cannot do epic shit with basic people. You cannot do it. Not do it. You people are not basic. So embrace the opportunity to fail and go do epic shit. Thank you guys very much.